Bitfinex just published an alpha report and they're trying to tell us that the bull market is here. It's official. And they're basing that on some very interesting indicators, on-chain activity, what's going on with institutional interest. It's a whole lot. I want to share it with you. Bitcoin is our focus, man. I want everybody to have their eyes on Bitcoin. I know we talk a lot about alts, the X coins, but as someone who has been in a bull run, who has been here since before a bull run, I'm telling you, you'll do a lot better having exposure to Bitcoin, even if you want to expand into alts.
No, I believe you. It's just the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I'll talk more about it before we leave, but let's dive into this. So according to Bitfinex Alpha Report, several dynamics like Bitcoin's ascent to 35,000 price range and increasing institutional interest have shown that it is gearing up for a bull phase. Now, real quick, drop your BTC price predictions down in the comments. I already made mine. I'm gonna call in 75K by the end of 2024, $150 by the end of the cycle. So a staggering 275 million worth of short trades were wiped out on the same day, and then another 153 million the day after. Bitfinex found that the number of liquidations was the largest seen by the market since January of 2023. So they're correlating that to the fact that earlier this year, we did enter the year above 30,000. If I remember correctly, yes, we did enter the year above 30,000, and there were similar conditions then as there were now. So we continued that rally for a little bit. And then, of course, we did have the pullback. Some event occurred. I can't remember at the moment. It's so many all the time. But what they're saying is these conditions are present again. And if that is the case, then we could be in position for another pump. Liquidations like this, when you see stories like that, this adds to the speed of whichever direction that Bitcoin is moving at the time. The market recorded 200 million in long liquidations. This means that people were buying, expecting the price of Bitcoin to be higher. That is what happens when you get into a long position. So all of those people basically made the correct call. And as those liquidations were hit, that was more profits, that was more money pushing behind Bitcoin, essentially. All right? That's the simplest way to describe it. Here's something else that I found to be interesting. The activity of short-term and long-term holders. Bitcoin's move was also accompanied by short-term holders realizing a significant amount of profits. The short-term holders spent output profit ratio surged intraday to 1.059, the highest since April 11th of this year. The current value shows that short-term holders took the largest amount of profits since April. Long-term holder profit taking was minimal. This kind of action is typical after a sharp uptick in a bull market and is often followed by a phase of sideways movement or a correction. That or, it's very important. We've seen sideways movement since the ETF announcement, then unannouncement, then announcement again, then listing. There's a lot of energy around it because the market knows it's coming. So I found that to be very strange that once we found out that it wasn't officially launched, the ETF, that the price remained. That's something I believe that's what you call priced in, but there's still more room to move because there is more institutional interest outside of those ETFs. Bitcoin options monthly volume on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange has ended October with a value of $2 billion. That's the highest reading ever. At the same time, options open interest is gradually recovering as it currently stands at a monthly figure of 1.1 billion, which is not too high from the all-time high of 1.6 billion. Now, here's the kicker though. On-chain data suggests that Bitcoin could follow through its upwards momentum into November. Per historical data, the bullish trend of October has extended to November 6 out of 10 instances, meaning there's a 60% chance that the momentum we had in October will carry over to November. And personally, I think if it does, then it's going to carry into December and bull run started. When I say that this market does its move in December, you're about to see what I mean. December 2019, slight uptick. We were moving up before March of 2020, but December of 2020, we moved up again, and that move triggered the bull run. We have a 60% chance of this momentum continuing into November, and I think that's good news for Bitcoin. Now, I just want to address this because it stood out to me. It was a comment from a couple days back about Bitcoin. I want to tell you that don't be intimidated by the price of Bitcoin. Just because it's $35,000, $34,000 doesn't mean that you've missed the boat. We still have to hit 100K. And then there are further projections past that. So yes, you may have missed the ride from 6,000 to 60,000, but there are still more cycles to come. And something else too I want you to keep in mind, Bitcoin's going to move the fastest and the furthest, which means you're going to be able to get a lot of profits. When you take those profits and put them into altcoins like XRP, XLM, XDC, or even smaller cap coins, you end up getting more for your money.
You guys said you wanted to get rich. Now you're rich.
Here's something that I've been doing. Cash App allows you to get money deposited in Bitcoin. 5-10% at a time. You take your deposits into Cash App and you just let that 5 and 10% stack up. Just let it stack up and you won't even realize that you have a nice little bag of Bitcoin that will move. You can still make profit on Bitcoin. All right. I don't want anybody to be discouraged by the price of Bitcoin at all, because I'm telling you, as someone who has seen Bitcoin before a bull run, you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss that, man. You don't want to miss that. And then here's another story that I stumbled upon. Don't have it in front of me. I'm kind of going to read it off the head, but People's Bank of China, there's a correlation between liquidity injections into their markets and the price of Bitcoin pumping. As a matter of fact, it happened earlier this year in January, right? People's Bank of China pumped a lot of money into their economy, and somehow, some way, the price of Bitcoin also jumped. Now, I am in the process of kind of digging into that because it's interesting when you consider the fact that the director of the People's Bank of China does not like crypto. He has publicly stated that Bitcoin, he thinks it's scam money. At the same time, though, you have the province of Hong Kong, which is in China, who is actively pushing to regulate crypto, bring in stable coins, allow this application, and all of that. And then something else too. China is still mining Bitcoin. It's just all government mined, but they're still mining it. So if the Bitcoin price moves in correlation to when the People's Bank of China moves, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. We could get some aid in this bull market from the dragon. All right. And then if you really do the history, China was one of the first to get in on Bitcoin. And we're talking about 2010. 2010. Bitcoin was barely a year old and China was already on it. I don't know what else to tell you. But that's the news. Let me know if you found value. Hit that like button, subscribe, and your notification bell. As always, I want you to have a great day. Have a prosperous day. And don't forget, if that money is digital, so is the hustle. I'll see you in the next one.